Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me in this live section. Victory for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Kenya court has finally declared Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's abduction illegal, and then they awarded him 120 million naira in damages. They have said the fact that Kanu or Nigerian government adopted Kanu from Kenya, kidnapped him from Kenya and brought him back to Nigeria, that is illegal, and they said it's unconstitutional. And then they awarded him, they compensated him with 20 million naira. Guys, in this live section, you're going to be hearing the things you have not heard or nobody have told you before about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. You're going to be hearing it. So do well to stay to the end of this live section, that I have so many things to tell you. So now, like I said, victory, jubilation, like this thing that Kenya government just did is is like a good reason that Justice Omotosho needs to just, that's the reason he has to just release him. Is a tangible reason to release him, because the way they kidnapped him from Kenya is illegal, and then his trial is null and void. They should just close. In fact, they've already closed the case anyways, but we're just waiting for him to be bailed, or he should be released. Yes, because the way he was kidnapped from Kenya and they brought him to Nigeria is illegal. Kenya court has said it. They should release that man. He has not done anything. So victory. Kenya court declares Nnamdi Kanu's abduction illegal. 120 million naira was awarded to him in damages. So, in a stunning legal victory, a Kenya High Court has declared the adoption and redemption of IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria as illegal and unconstitutional. So now the court awarded over 120 million naira in damages and exposed a web of state-sponsored illegality involving two African governments. But what does this mean for justice, for IPOB, and for Nigeria? So, Kenya court has said that, the fact that he was brought from Kenya to Nigeria and is illegal and is unconstitutional. So his trial is null and void. Yes, this is what they are saying. They should release him. Now, this is a strong reason, or this is the reason why Justice Omotosho needs to release him. This is a strong reason. Guys, as they have said this thing now, we should be expecting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release in soon. In no time. We should be expecting his release in no time, because Kenya court has said it, that the fact that they are still continuing his trial is also illegal. So they should release him. A Kenya High Court has exposed the truth many fear to say out loud. They have come out to say the truth. And let me just tell you, they also called out some Nigerian officials that were collaborating to just cover the crimes or cover the fact that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped. They mentioned Buhari, they mentioned Tinubu, they mentioned Malami, they mentioned many people that are involved in this thing, even Osibanjo. They mentioned them, and some people in Kenya, because you guys know that for Nigerian government to go to Kenya, there were some people in Kenya they collaborated with. So IPOB is saying that they're going to drag all these people to court, both Tinubu, both Buhari, both Malami, both Osibanjo, and some Kenya officials that collaborated to kidnapping. They said they're going to drag they said this is just the beginning, that they're going to drag all of them to court. They should come and explain how they were able to kidnap Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya. Guys, like I said in this live section, I'm going to be exposing some things that you have not heard. about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what happened. That in fact nobody have said talked about this. In this live session, you're going to see it. What they did to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is terrible. That man needs to be, they owe him an unreserved apology. They owe him. Even a northern man had to come out to say that every Nigerian man owes Mazi Nnamdi Kanu an apology. He said it. So now, in a stunning legal victory, a Kenya High Court has declared the abduction and rejection of IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria as illegal and unconstitutional. The court awarded over 120 million naira in damages and exposed a web of state-sponsored illegality involving two African governments. But what does this mean for justice, for IPOB, and for Nigeria? Let's break this thing down. Now, in June 2021, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, was adopted in Kenya. He had entered the country legally as a British citizen, but what followed shocked many. He disappeared suddenly. Someone that entered Kenya as a citizen, people started looking for him in Kenya. He disappeared just like that, and then only for them to find out that for them to find him handcuffed. They found him handcuffed in a high court in Abuja. Guys, you can see what's happening. They find him handcuffed in a high court in Abuja. So you see, and then they started looking for him, not only for them to come to see him handcuffed in Abuja. The Nigerian government went and kidnapped him. They mentioned Tinubu, Buhari, and some Kenyan officials that were involved in this planned attack, in this kidnap. They mentioned many. These are the people that were involved. And then IPOB has vowed that this is just the beginning, that they are going to drag all of them to court. So now, in June 2021, Nnamdi Kanu, leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, was adopted in Kenya. He had entered the country legally as a British citizen, but what followed shocked many. He disappeared without a trace, only to reappear in handcuffs at a Nigerian courtroom in Abuja, battered, weak, and silent. For years, IPOB and legal experts worldwide have called what happened an extraordinary reduction, a fancy term for international kidnapping. No warrant, no court order, no legal process. You took him. Now, one of the questions I keep asking myself is, if Nigerian government have something to do with, or if they have something against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, must you illegally go and adopt him? That's to tell you that these people have no crime against him. They just want to silence him because he's saying the truth. In Nigeria, you cannot say the truth. If they have any crime against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they would have just written to Kenya government, and then Kenya government is left for them now to take action to charge him to court in Kenya. But Nigerian government, they went ahead secretly, mysteriously kidnapped that man from Kenya and brought him to Nigeria. You can see what they are doing. Mysteriously, they planned. Why are they doing things secretly? If Mazi Nnamdi Kanu if they have proof that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, they will not go secretly to kidnap that man. Suddenly, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu went missing in Kenya, only for Kenyan people to see him in Abuja, handcuffed, beaten, battered. So why is it that Nigerian government, look at the unnecessary efforts Nigerian government are putting in this Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case? How can a country you see how lawless this country is, how lawless they are? How can you go to another man's land and kidnap somebody when you know he's a citizen? Why would they do such a thing? They did not even obey Kenya laws. They did not even obey their own laws. Secretly, they went and kidnapped him. You can see the effort these people are putting in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case. That's to tell you that they want to silence him, even when they know the truth, that he has not done anything. Up till now, how many years ago, they cannot prove that he's a terrorist. Thank God, Kenya court has spoken. Thank God that he has spoken. Thank God that this thing that happened now. Let's just expect Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's release in no time. Guys, I am telling you, if Justice Omotosho will not bail Mazi Nnamdi Kanu this time or will not release him, know that there's a problem. Know that there's a serious problem. Or know that there's, because that man, you cannot be keeping that man there for no reason. Number one is Kenya court has said it, that the fact that he was kidnapped, he was truly kidnapped from Kenya to Nigeria. For the fact that he has done that, they said it's illegal. They declared it illegal. It's against Kenya law and international law, even against Nigerian law. They said it's illegal and it's unconstitutional. And for the fact that his trial is still, he's still continuing his trial, the trial is null. In fact, his trial is considered null and void. So this is a strong reason that Justice Omotosho needs to use to release him. If they don't release him, even after this point, just so that there's a problem. In fact, there's going to be a war, because you cannot be keeping that man there for nothing. And not the reason they need to use and release him is because of DSS witness had no evidence. They cannot prove he's a terrorist. You can see that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has truly in fact, he has vindicated himself. You can see a matter can last long, but it doesn't mean that justice will not be served. You know how Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case lasted? In fact, almost 5 years. But it doesn't mean justice will not be served no matter what. So they have come to say that this man is innocent. My problem is, why is it that Nigerian governments are, putting unnecessary effort in Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case? Do you know that if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was actually guilty, Nigerian government would have followed due process? Yes, they would have written to Nigeria and Kenya that this man is a terrorist and give their evidence, and then it's left for Kenya government to charge him to court and discipline him, or justice to be served. But because they know he's innocent, they had to secretly go and kidnap him. Is that right? Is that the right thing to do? Is that the right thing to do? Guys, remember I said I'm going to tell you guys some things that you have not heard or nobody have told you about what they did to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I'm going to tell you. Just stay to the end of this live section. Now, for years, IPOB and legal experts worldwide have called what happened an extraordinary rendition, a fancy term for international kidnapping. No warrant, no court order, no legal process. Now, after 4 years, the truth is in black and white. Justice E.C. Witter of the High Court has ruled that Kanu in Kenya, this is in Kenya High Court, has ruled that Kanu's adoption, secret detention, torture, and forced to transfer to Nigeria violated both Kenya law and international law. It violated both Kenya law. Do you know, there's something that UK did that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even till now, he's talking about it. You know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen, and when he was adopted, UK government were totally silent, completely silent. They were totally silent. This is what they did that is not good. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen, and when he was kidnapped, they were totally silent. That is one thing that the UK did that is not good at all. So in his ruling, in Justice Witter ruling, he said boldly, Mr. Kanu was adopted, kept in solitary confinement, tortured and denied food and medication, later forcibly removed from Kenya without any legal procedure. This was unconstitutional and it is also illegal. This is what the judge in Kenya said boldly. He said it out for the world to hear. That man has not done anything. That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. And anybody that says he's not innocent should come and bring their evidence against him. That is just it. So the Kenya judge said, as punishment, the Kenya court has awarded the government or have ordered the government to pay 10 million Kenya shillings. That's around 120 million naira in Nigerians money to Nnamdi Kanu for damages. They are compensating him with 120 million naira. So now, I just like the way this thing happened. Because right now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in no time will be released. And do you know what that means? Do you know what that means? There will be jubilation in all Igbo lands. Like in all Igbo lands, there will be jubilation. Even some of the Northerners will even be happy because right now, everybody is now saying, in fact, I was even surprised to see an Akwa Ibom and a Calabar man saying that they are not South, that they are Southeast, that nobody should call them South, that they are Biafrans. I was so shocked. So many people now wants to be Biafran. Even the Northerners are saying that they are Biafrans, guys, that they should release Mazi Nnamdi. This is people that once never wanted to hear anything concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They never wanted to hear any discussion concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. They are now realizing that this man actually had plans. In fact, he was actually protecting the Igbos only, but his voice was loud enough for everyone in Nigeria, even in the Northerners to even listen. Because remember when he was warning the Northerners of the dangers of these Fulani guys, and now he's playing out today. Now, one thing that Kenya government failed to do, and that is why they compensated him, where they failed was they failed to protect a visitor legally in their own country. That's one thing they did that is not good. They failed. Do you know, for Nigerian government to have access to Kenya, like in a smooth road, nobody obstructed them. They planned everything. They went to Kenya, used private jets, and brought him back to Nigeria. That shows that there are some Kenyan people that were involved in this. That shows that there are some Kenyan people that are involved in this kidnap. And IPOB has said that you see, that this is just the beginning. They're going to drag everybody that was involved in this attack, in this kidnapping, to court. They're going to drag them to court. Now, another thing that the Kenyan government did was they allowed him to be detained secretly. Do you know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was detained in a private residence? Do you know? He was chained on the floor. I'm going to tell you guys, just calm down. So now they allowed him to be detained secretly, tortured, and then they flew him to another country like a criminal, all without court approval, all without Kenya's approval. This thing is happening. Nigerian government had made just invaded Kenya and then kidnapped a man. This is against Kenyan law and Nigerian law, even international law. IPOB, through his spokesperson, Emma Powerful, called this ruling a judicial earthquake and a landmark victory for justice and the oppressed. They also praised their lead counsel, Professor PLO Lumumba, the renowned Pan-African legal mind who led the case in Kenya. Yes, they praised. So they praised that lawyer. He's a renowned Pan-African legal mind. He led this case in Kenya. Bravo, like he has done well. He has done well, yes, to prove that the fact that Nigerian government went to Kenya to arrest him is unconstitutional. And then Kenya court has given their final declaration. They have given their final judgment. They praised their lead counsel, Professor PLO Lumumba, the renowned Pan-African legal mind who led the case in Kenya. He was bold enough. He was not even scared if Nigerian government to come after him. No, he was bold. So, according to IPOB, they said this was an extradition. This was international terrorism disguised as law, and now the world knows it. I'm so happy that every country is now saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an innocent man. This is not more Nigeria. This has gone beyond Nigeria. Everybody, both UK, both Kenya, they are saying that this is an international terrorism disguised as law. And now the world knows it. I am so happy that the world is aware now. Now, the verdict doesn't stop at Kenya. The verdict doesn't stop at Kenya. IPOB says they blame also lies with top Nigerian officials like former President Muhammadu Buhari. IPOB, they are saying that they blame Buhari. One, Vice President Osibanjo, 2, President Tinubu, the current president of Nigeria, and even current government operative who tried, in IPOB's word, to manipulate Kenya's judiciary to cover up this crime. They tried to manipulate Kenya's judiciary to cover up this crime. Now, do you think that President Bola Tinubu, according to what IPOB is saying now, they are saying that President Bola Tinubu, Buhari, Osibanjo, and even some current government operative tried to manipulate Kenya's judiciary to cover up this crime. Do you think that Tinubu was actually doing that because of he wanted to be a president in Nigeria, and he knows that he cannot stand Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, so he had to do that to stop him? Do you think? Let me know that under the comment section, because they are calling his name. They are saying that Buhari, Osibanjo, Tinubu, and you can see that Tinubu has already planned to become the president of Nigeria since then. That's why I say, you see this country, Nigeria, everything is irrelevant. In fact, do you know that before 2023, in 2020 or thereabout, they have already planned and stamped who their president is going to be, which is Tinubu. When Tinubu was telling you that he will win, do you think he was joking? When he was saying, I will win, do you think? Because long time ago, they have stamped it. That is why he's included in the people that, in IPOB's words, that manipulated Kenya's judiciary to cover up this crime. They know that. You see, if Nnamdi Kanu was not detained, hey, Tinubu cannot stand it. In fact, whatever he's doing, Nnamdi Kanu is exposing it through his Radio Biafra. So I feel, because they already know that Tinubu will be the president in 2023, that is why they made that effort. That is why Osibanjo, Buhari, they made that effort to make sure that he's going to be, detained. And that is why he has not been having a fair trial when Bentanyako, so that it can be delayed. And then, let me just shock you guys. It is not going as planned. Nigerian government, the way they want Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case to be going is not actually going as planned. It has taken another turn. Yes. Now, Kenya government, they are coming out to say that, you see this, in fact, the court has declared it. And the whole wide world knows now. So why is that man still there? His trial is null and void. For the fact that he was brought kidnapped from Kenya to Nigeria, his trial is null and void. So this judgment stains the record of not just Kenya authority, but also Nigerian leaders who endorsed or facilitated this operation. Me and you know that Nigerian government, and some Kenya citizen where they facilitated this operation. And IPOB has said that they're going to drag them to court. This is more than a court ruling. This is a door opener. IPOB is now launching a global legal campaign to hold everyone involved accountable. Yes, so once Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out, you see those people that were against him, or those ones that facilitated the operation, they are going to hold them accountable. So IPOB, they are now launching a global legal campaign to hold everyone involved accountable for the security, from the security agents to the heads of state. They vow to pursue justice in international courts and human rights bodies across the globe. And most importantly, this judgment raises serious concerns or raises serious questions about the credibility of Nigeria's ongoing trial of Kanu. We are still asking ourselves, why is that man still there? Why is he still there? Why is his trial still on? If the way he was brought into the country was illegal, how can the trial that followed be valid? How can Kanu's trial be valid when he was kidnapped from Kenya? Something that is against Nigerian law, international law, and Kenya law. So how is his trial valid? For now, this is a victory not just for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but for all victims of state-sponsored abuse. For now, this is a victory not just for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but for all victims of state-sponsored abuse, illegal rejection, and international lawlessness. Justice Witter has shown that even in a world where power often tramples over the weak, the law, when fearlessly applied, can still prevail. As IPOP puts in, this is not the end. They said this is not the end. It is just the beginning. I believe when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is out, he's going to be ready for Nigerian government for keeping him there for nothing. In fact, if Nigerian government knows what, in fact, you see that Kenya government have compensated him. If Nigerian government knows something now, if they are very, very smart, they're supposed to release him immediately and then apologize to him and compensate him if they are smart. If not, they're going to get it hot because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will never step down from agitating for the betterness of his people. Because is agitation a crime? He will never step down. People were thinking that, oh, okay, do you know the plans of Nigerian government? They wanted to make life unbearable for him himself so that he'll be weak and tired. By the time he comes out, he will forget about Biafra. In fact, he will not agitate again. But guess what? Even in custody, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is saying that he doesn't care if they add an extra year to him here. Hey, this is serious. He said he doesn't care if they add an extra year to him, that he must stop the persecution of the Igbos. Nigerian governments were thinking that after kidnapping him from Kenya, they'll torture him and then he will stop talking about Biafra. It's a lie, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will never back out. In fact, he's even becoming stronger and stronger every day. When he comes out, he will still continue. So you can see that the way Nigerian government planned it is not going that way. And I know that they are in shame right now. For Kenyan government to come out and say something like this, just know that we're expecting Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to release, in no time. He'll be released in no time. If Justice Omotosho doesn't release him, it doesn't. That means we're waiting for the 18th of July. Let's see what will happen. Because I believe that the 18th of July they will release him. Because Kenyan government has said it. That is against the fact they went to Kenya to kidnap him illegally. That is against their law. It's also against Nigeria law. It's also against international law. So why then are they still holding him there? Why are they still holding him there? So you can see. Now, IPOP, they have said this is just the beginning. They're saying this is just the beginning, that they are going to come, they're going to drag all those people that were against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they're going to drag them to court, international court for that matter. So now let me just play a video for you guys to watch, where his lawyer said some things about his kidnap from Kenya to Nigeria. Don't forget, stay tuned to the end of this live session because I have some secrets to tell you guys. What you have not heard or what they have not told you about the detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you're going to hear it in this live session. So stay to the end, guys. Take a look at this video and hear what the lawyer said.
When the president calm down, the reason Nnamdi Kanu have a discussion with him. You have been having a discussion with bandits and the so-called repentant Boko Haram. Tell me the offense of Nnamdi Kanu, because he's agitating for self-determination, which is his own constitutional fundamental rights granted to him by the constitution and the law.
Well, the government's angle is not because of the agitation, because they know that everyone has a right to agitate, but they said the way he was going about it, like and then people were being incited. Well, that's even not what I'm
what of the wife of the president incited people during the election? The wife of the president, he incited people that Igbo should go. What of the one of Lagos said that Igbo should go and fall into lagoon? What of those that came out and said that Igbos will not vote? If you are not voting for APC, you will not vote. What happened to them? Has anybody been arrested? That Nnamdi Kanu said something, then you now term that thing he said as is a terrorist, is a crime of terrorism. You charge him for terrorism. His own lawful organization that is registered in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe and Asia, and you now came to Nigeria, you term it a terrorist organization. Now you are now saying that now that IPOB is being recognized in almost all the whole countries in America and Europe. So you are now saying that America, France, Germany, they are recognizing a terrorist organization because you don't want anybody to agitate. You want to suppress anybody. If you talk, kill him, suppress him, jail him. In a country that is predicated on constitutional governance, it cannot work like that.
Okay, let's get back to the ministerial nomination of Bianca Ojukwu, because you said he took away one from Anambra and brought in another. But remember that the president took away the minister based on the KPI results that came out, which he was not even the one, that did the evaluation. It was the result given to him with which he did that, meaning that if actually the minister had performed,
Nigerian government should stop wasting their time. They should stop wasting. They should back out. It has already been exposed. They should just back out. The way some government officials, secretly brought that man. And I'm still asking myself to today. We should be asking ourselves this question. If truly Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist, why did they go secretly to adopt him? Have we asked ourselves that question? If he's a terrorist, why did they mysteriously, secretly go and kidnap him? They would have just written to Kenya government that this man in your country is a terrorist. And then it's left for Kenya to do their work. What is the business of, you see what this Nigerian government are doing? They should back out because it has been exposed. A Kenyan High Court has exposed the truth. Many fear to say out loud that the adoption and the secret transfer of Nnamdi Kanu to Nigeria was illegal and unconstitutional and a violation of his human rights. The court has now ruled and the world is watching. What does this mean now to Kenya, Nigeria, and the UK? Now, like I explained, let me just do a recap. In June 2021, Nnamdi Kanu, a British citizen and the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, disappeared from Kenya under mysterious circumstance. After days of silence, he resurfaced in handcuffs inside a Nigerian courtroom. There was no public trial, no extradition process, no court warrant. He was simply taken, kidnapped across borders. That's why lawyers called it extraordinary rendition, a secret unlawful transfer of a person from one country to another, usually by force. It is the same term used to describe CIA black site operation. Now, in a landmark ruling delivered on June 24th, 2025, Justice E.C. Wita of the Kenya High Court declared that what happened to Kanu was not just wrong, it was a crime. Remember, they said it's not just wrong, it's a crime against constitution of Kenya. So Nigerian government has committed that is a crime. Nigerian government, so those people that are involved, they should be jailed though. Those people that are involved in that crime, because they have committed a crime in Kenya. So those people that are involved in that, they should be jailed. So that is not just wrong, but it was a crime against the constitution of Kenya. According to what they said, according to the judges in Kenya, they said Mr. Kanu was adopted, held in Communicado, tortured, denied food, and forcibly flown out of Kenya without legal process. This is what the judge said. The court issued two major declarations. They said, one, that the adoption, torture, and rendition of Kanus violated his fundamental human rights. Two, that the Kenya government must pay, they ordered Kenya government to pay 10 Kenya shillings, that is 120 million naira. 10 million Kenya shillings, that's 120 million naira as compensation for each role in this illegal act. So now, these are the details that nobody told you. These are the I'm about to tell you what I said I'm going to say at the beginning of this live session that nobody has told you. These are the details you did not hear or nobody have told you. Number one is Kanu was held in a private residence over 8 days without access to a lawyer, medication, or contact with the outside world. That's one thing that happened to Kanu. Number two, he was chained to the floor, kept in a dark room, and interrogated repeatedly. Remember, I said that this thing nobody have told you about this. Kanu was held. I believe when Kanu will come out, he's going to tell everyone. Trust him now. He never keeps silent. In fact, why Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was, why they're going after him, because of he knows that he can never. In fact, they know that he cannot keep silent. Or why they arrested him is because of he talked. He refused to keep silent. Now, I believe when he come out, he's going to expose Nigerian government the more. Hey, it's going to be a blow on Nigerian government. So on the faces of Nigerian government that are into this operation. Now, one is that Kanu was held in a private residence for over 8 days without access to his lawyers, medication, or contact with outside world. Two, he was chained to the floor, kept in a dark room, and interrogated repeatedly. 3. No Kenyan court ever approved his removal from the country. British officials were notified but did not intervene. That is one thing that, that I would say the British officials failed. They failed in that area because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen. And when he was adopted, they failed to intervene even when they were notified. They failed to intervene even when they were notified. So what do you think? Do you think it's a collaboration between British and Nigerian government to come to take, to for this operation? Do you think it's it? Because you know that British governments were actually against the Igbos. Yes, they were actually against the Igbos. They wanted to be using our resources. They wanted to buy us and be using our resources. That was what happened, in 1967 to 1970. The genocide. I don't want to go over to that place now. And also, he was flown to Abuja in a private jet arranged by Nigerian security agents in collaboration with Rouge Kenya operative. So these are the things that nobody have told you about Kanu. Let me just say it again. Kanu was held in a private residence for over 8 days without access to a lawyer, medication, or contact with the outside world. He was chained to the floor, kept in a dark room, and interrogated repeatedly. No Kenyan court ever approved his removal from the country. British officials were notified but did not intervene. He was flown to Abuja in a private jet arranged by Nigerian security agents in collaboration with Rouge Kenya operative. Now, Kanu is a British citizen, yet when he was adopted, held without trial and tortured, the UK government remained completely silent. In fact, court documents revealed that British diplomatic officials in Kenya were aware of the situation but chose not to act. So some British diplomatic officials were in Kenya and they were aware of this thing, that Kanu was adopted, and then they refused to act for how many years? So you can see that Kanu was a British citizen, but yet when he was adopted and held without trial and tortured, UK government remained silent about it. This is what they did that is very wrong. Even Kanu is still saying it up to you now. IPOB has long accused UK government of complicity, or at the very least, willful negligence. Now, this judgment gives weight to that claim. In any lawful democracy, extradition requires a court hearing. That is just it. They say Nigeria is they practice democracy. Guys, I'm not saying any democracy they are practicing. No. I am not saying anything at all. In any lawful country or any lawful democracy, extradition requires a court hearing. You don't just go and bring him back to Nigeria. You must first of all, you must take due process, write to Kenya government, they will charge him to court, or before it's only Kenya court that will say, okay, take him to Nigeria. It's only them that will give, but no Kenya court were aware. They were not even in support of him coming to Nigeria at all. Nigeria bypassed that. In any lawful democracy, extradition requires a court hearing. Nigerian government bypassed that, secretly went and adopted him from Kenya and brought him back to Nigeria. There was no Interpol warrant, no judicial request, just brute force and backdoor diplomacy. Now, Kanu's adoption violates not just Kenyan law, but Nigerian law, international human rights law, and the African chapter on human and people's rights, to which both countries are signatories. Experts now argue that his ongoing detention in Nigeria is invalid. Everybody is now saying it because the process by which he was brought into the country was illegally from the start. In fact, there was no even case at all. The process which they brought him to Nigeria was illegal. IPOB has hailed the ruling as a judicial earthquake. In a statement by the spokesperson, Emma Powerful, the group vowed to pursue global legal accountability against all of those involved. This is only the beginning, they said. We will drag everyone involved from Buhari, Tinubu, Osibanjo, Malami to Kenya collaborators before international courts. So they said they were going to drag Buhari. According to them, they said Tinubu, Buhari, Osinbajo, Malami, and some Kenya collaborators were involved in this operation, and they're going to drag all of them to court. From Kenya officials to the head of state, Buhari, Tinubu, Osinbajo, Malami, to Kenya collaborators. They're going to drag them before international court. They also thanked legal giant Professor PLO Lumumba, who led the litigation in Kenya, for his fearless defense of African dignity and justice. So, what does this mean for this case in Nigeria? Well, in international law, if the method of arrest or extradition is illegal, the resulting trial may also be considered null and void. Nigerian government don't want to admit this thing, no. They want it in another way. If they have sense, if they think they are smart, they should go and release him and compensate him, and everywhere will be peaceful. But even at all these things that Kenya has released, and they're still, proving stubbornness and keeping him there, they will get it hot too, because Kenya has said it. Tell me the country that is not saying this thing now. Tell me. In international law, if method of arrest or extradition is illegal, the resulting trial may also be considered null and void. So then they should release him immediately with immediate effect, because Kenya government has said it. Why are they still continuing his trial? They should release him because Kenya court has said it. This is null and void. There was no a case at first. Yes, there was no case at first. That means Kanu's lawyer now have a strong case to argue. Justice Omoto, in fact, Kanu's legal team, they now have a very strong case to argue. They should put it to Justice Omoto show that, Kanu is innocent and therefore he needs to be released immediately, since he was brought into Nigeria through an unconstitutional and criminal act. They have been saying this thing for years, but Nigerian government, they are proving stubborn. If they don't release him after this thing that Kenya government has said, there's going to be serious war, because they cannot be holding that man there for nothing. For nothing. Number one is that the so-called DSS witness cannot even testify against him. They don't have an evidence that can hold water. And two, Kenya government, the way they brought him from Kenya to Nigeria is illegal. So, and then his trial should be considered null and void. Why are they still holding him there? Some legal experts said the Nigerian judicial is now under pressure. Will it uphold the rule of law or ignore this international condemnation? Now, what is the way forward? This judgment is a wake-up call, not just for Kenya and Nigeria, but for the entire African continent. It tells us that no government is above the law. No government is above the law. Everybody was thinking that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case is lost, but it's not lost. No matter how long it will last, justice must be served. No matter how long the case will take, justice must be served. Now, this thing that Kenya government just did, it tells us that there's no government that is above the law. The international borders do not protect state actors from accountability. That the fight for justice can be long doesn't mean that it's lost. Doesn't mean it's lost. It also reopens calls for the British Parliament and International Criminal Court to investigate this unlawful retention. Now, what we're also expecting for the UK or the British Parliament to do is to what? Investigate this unlawful retention and then tell us their own judgment, because Kenya has already investigated it and then they have brought out their own judgment. And for Nigerian judiciary to reconsider Kanu's detention, they should just bail that man. He has not done anything. He has not. This is more than a legal case. It's about the dignity of the African people, the strength of constitutional law, and the universal demand for justice. Now, will the world remain silent, or will they finally act? It is time that everybody needs to act, because Kenya has given or declared that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's adoption and rendition to Nigeria is illegal, and they awarded him 120 million naira. So now let's look at what this article says. The court also awarded Kanu 10 million Kenya shillings in compensatory damages against the Kenya government for each role in the unlawful adoption and rendition. A high court in Nairobi, Kenya, has ruled that the abduction and detention of indigenous people of Biafra IPOB Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya and his subsequent rendition to Nigeria in June 2021 were unlawful and illegal. Network glitch. So, delivering judgment, let's read on. It says, delivering judgment, Justice E.C. Witter held that the action of both Kenya and Nigerian governments amounted to gross violation of Kanu's fundamental human rights as protected by their respective constitution. The court also awarded Kanu 10 million Kenya shillings in compensatory damages against the Kenya government for its role in unlawful adoption and rendition. Justice E.C. Witter said, having considered the pleadings and arguments by parties, the decisions relied on the Constitution and the law. I come to the following conclusion. This is what he said. Hey, joy in every Igbo land, joy in the hearts of every Igbo person. First, the government of Kenya violated the Constitution and Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's rights and fundamental freedoms. Okay, let me take that again. It says, first, the government of Kenya violated the Constitution and Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's rights and fundamental freedoms. Having entered Kenya lawfully, he was subjected to the protection offered by the Constitution of Kenya 2010, and the government of Kenya had an obligation to uphold and protect his rights and fundamental freedom. So Kenyan government is trying to say that they failed as a government, as a country, to protect a visitor, which is Nnamdi Kanu. They said they failed in that aspect. So now, they kept Mr. Nnamdi Kanu was, however, adopted, kept in solitary confinement, tortured and denied food and medication, a breach of basic rights. He was chained, humiliated, and held in contempt and later forcibly removed from Kenya without following the law in violation of his rights and fundamental freedom from which the government of Kenya is liable. Based on the above conclusion, the court makes the following declaration and orders it appropriate I'm sorry, let me take that again. It said, based on the above conclusion, the court makes the following declaration and orders it considers appropriate. A declaration is hereby issued that the adoption of Mr. Nwanne Kelvin Nnamdi Kanu, okay, they called his full name. We don't even know that Nnamdi Kanu is answering these names. Okay, let me just call it out. He said Mr. Nwanne Kelvin Nnamdi Kenny Oku Kanu. Are you serious? We don't know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has these names. So holding him in incommunicado confinement, torturing him and denying him food, water, medication, and other basic necessities was a violation of his rights and fundamental freedom. Now, reading on, it says, a declaration is hereby issued that the adoption and subsequent forcible removal of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria was in violation of the laws of Kenya. His rights and fundamental freedom, including freedom of movement and security of the person guaranteed by the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and therefore unconstitutional and illegal. An order from compensation is hereby issued awarding Mr. Nwanne Kenyivi. This is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's full name. I can't even pronounce it. Nnamdi Kenny Okukanu. General damages of um Kenya shilling 10 million Kenya shillings. That is about 120 million naira in Nigerian money against the Attorney General of Kenya on behalf of the government of Kenya for the violation of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu Kanu's constitutional rights and fundamental freedom. So you can see that Kenyan government have actually washed their hands out of Nnamdi Kanu. They have realized that this man was truly, his right was violated. And as a country, as a government, they failed to protect him, protect a visitor, to protect him. They failed because if they were truly protecting him, they would not have allowed, Nigerian government to sneak into Kenya and adopt him. So they have washed their hands, they have vindicated themselves, saying that that this man's rights was actually violated, and then they compensated him with 10,000 naira Kenya shillings. So now, if Nigerian government knows what is good for themselves, in fact, I feel that Kenyan government has already sensed that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will soon be released. Yes, they've already sensed. That's why they're coming out now to come and give their clear judgment that Kenya government, they have come out to say that the way, or to say the truth openly, that the way they kidnapped him, Nigerian government went to kidnap him, is illegal. So now it's late for Nigerian government to play their own part by releasing him and compensating him, begging and apologizing to him. I'm going to play a video for you where a northern man said that every Nigerian man needs or owe Mazi Nnamdi Kanu an apology. The government owes Mazi Nnamdi Kanu an apology. So now, reading on, it says, meanwhile, the indigenous people of Biafra has held the judgment as a landmark victory, saying it vindicated the group's long-standing position since what is described as shame and fear farcical trial of its leader in Nigeria. A statement signed by the IPOB spokesperson, Emma Powerful, read, the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB wish to formally announce a resounding judicial earthquake that has shaken the legal foundation of fraudulent rendition of our leader, Onyendo Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, in his historical, courageous, and landmark judgments delivered on June 2025, or June 24th, 2025, the High Court of Kenya found that the adoption, incommunicado redemption, torture, and illegal transfer of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya to Nigeria in June 2021 was unlawful. It was unlawful. And then the judgment vindicates our consistent position that what transpired in Kenya in June 2021 was not extradition, but extraordinary rendition, a criminal act of state-sponsored international terrorism involving the highest authorities of Nigeria and Kenya governments. We are grateful beyond measure to the brilliant legal leadership of Professor PLO Lumumba, lead counsel in Kenya litigation, whose courage, clarity, and tenacity led to this monumental legal victory. Yes, this is a monumental legal victory, like joy in all the hearts of an Igbo man. IPOB also extend heartfelt appreciation to Kenyan judiciary, especially Honorable E.C. Wita, who stood tall against furious political interference and international diplomatic pressure to deliver a fearless judgment grounded in law, morality, and constitutional justice. This justice in Kenya, or this lawyer in Kenya, actually took a bold step, even without pressure, even with all the pressure, but yet he fearlessly said his final declaration and awarded him 120 million naira. Now, IPOB said, we know and now the world must acknowledge that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not commit any crime in Kenya. They are saying that IPOB is saying that they know, and now the world now know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu did not commit any crime in Kenya. He entered Kenya lawfully as a British citizen. He was adopted in a broad daylight. In a broad daylight. They said he was adopted in broad daylight at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport by agents of Nigerian Secret Police in collusion with root elements of the Kenya security apparatus. He was chained, tortured, denied medication, and eventually bundled onto a private jet and flew him illegally to Abuja without any extradition hearing or judicial warrant. This verdict places a permanent and legal stain on the record of former President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya. So now they're also involving the former president of Kenya as at when this thing happened, and also Muhammadu Buhari, Abubakar Malami, the Nigerian's former Attorney General, and other accomplices. You see all these people that I mentioned here. They were, according to IPOB, they said they were involved in extraditing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu illegally. So it also exposes the criminal lobbying mission embarked upon by a Nigerian leader. They have also called Buhari, Osinbanjo, to Tinubu, and Shetima, all of whom tried and failed to manipulate Kenya's judicial to cover up this international condemned act of extraordinary rendition. Let it be known that this is not the end. This is the beginning of a global accountability campaign. All those responsible in Kenya, Nigeria, or elsewhere shall be pursued to end of the earth under universal principle of accountability for crimes against humanity. Neither British diplomatic complicity nor cowardly silence from Western powers will shield the perpetrators from the legal, diplomatic, and moral reckoning that is coming. They are saying no law, no court, no country can actually shield these perpetrators from this legal, diplomatic, and moral reckoning that is coming. I know that when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is out of that place, that he's going to all these people that actually dealt with him, they will get it hot. That is why Kenyan government has said no. They are sensing that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to be released, and then the so-called DSS cannot even prove he's a terrorist. So they are coming out to say now boldly, they are trying to wash off their hands, saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. They don't have anything against him, or that look at the truth. They're coming to expose the long-standing truth. They are coming to expose it now. So this shows that very soon, in no time, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to be released. In no time, guys, trust me, he's going to be released. And, Igbo land will be at peace, because these people claim that in Igbo land, that there is no peace. That, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been the one inciting them, has been the one causing violence. When Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was not yet arrested, was Igbo land not at peace? Just when they arrested him, they started hearing of unknown gunmen. Anyways, there's this northern man that said that every Nigerian man owns Mazi Nnamdi Kanu an apology. Let me, guys, watch this video. He said that he even prayed for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. These are the northerners that never wanted to use their ear. They never wanted to hear anything concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now they are coming out to say, yes, this man is innocent. Take a look.
That is the price you pay for treachery. That is the price you will continue to pay until you rise up and say, enough is enough. Can you imagine Fulani people telling you, if you remove Fulanis from Yoruba forest, imagine Fulani telling you.
The entire Nigerian people owe this man on the screen exactly what I'm going to do now. We owe him gratitude. We owe him prayers. But only the people that acknowledge the help that this man has contributed to the entire Nigerian people. The voices that he was raising, he was trying to protect only the eastern communities, but the voice were loud enough to be a warning to the entire Nigerian people, but nobody paid attention. I'm going to say my prayer from the bottom of my heart. Only God knows exactly how I'm feeling right now. I don't have my shades on because there's no need for it. Say prayers for him in the comment section. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, may your days be long on this earth. May your heart desires be granted. Wherever you go shall be full of success. Your family and your descendants shall be blessed. Whatever it is that is your heart desire that you have been fighting for a long time, it shall be granted. Your enemies shall fall before you meet them. Your obstacles shall divert away before you come. Anybody that rises against you will fall before you notice it. Whatever you place your hands shall be blessed. Wherever you go shall be full of blessings. Any household you visit shall acknowledge that the king was born and a king visited the vicinity. Whatever you place your hands shall be successful. Your children and your children's children shall inherit the blessings that come from you, and it shall not come to an end. Anybody that starts as a stumbling block to whatever that you are wishing on your people, that person shall fall before you meet them. And the greatest of them all, that reason, that purpose, that agenda, that dream that you have had in you, that made you lose your parents, that made you lose your protection, that made you lose your freedom, that made you lose your time, that made you lose your money, that made you lose everything and quit everything in this life, it shall be accomplished. Special appreciation from me and from any other person that believe in your contribution in this society. We really appreciate you. It's now that we are feeling the impact of everything that you have said 8 years ago, 10 years ago. It's now that it's happening in everybody's eye. And in this same prayer, I'm saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released as soon as possible. He has no reason to be in detention. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whatever it is that is your agenda that made you deprive yourself of everything and even lose your parents, it shall be accomplished. Amen. You see.
So, guys, everybody was shocked to see a northern man praying for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. In fact, even ordering for his release, and also saying that whatever thing that will be his agenda that made him to lose his parents should be accomplished. These are the northerners that once never wanted to hear anything concerning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and for us to see a northern man coming out to pray for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, hey, everybody is now saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is innocent. Even an APC member is saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be released because he's the only person that can restore peace, unity in this country. So, guys, we have come to the end of this live section. For Kenya government to give this final judgment, there is already victory. Everybody should just be rejoicing. As far as you're a supporter of Biafran government, everybody should be rejoicing. But because on the 18th of July, probably Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going to be out of that place. So, guys, we've come to the end of this live section. Do well to hit that subscribe button, like and share this video. For more subscribe to this channel, hit that subscribe button so that whenever we drop updates like this, you'll be notified. So, guys, also drop a comment under the comment section. Let me know what you're saying on this headline. Give us a like button so that YouTube can refer this or recommend this video to others. So, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.